All right, folks, we are back live and ready to roll with 3 at 3. And haven't been able to get the camera working on this one this time. So we'll just go without the camera and instead just show you the slides. So let's roll. Disclaimer, lawyers make us do this, but it's probably a good idea. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. It has been compiled or arrived at by sources believed reliable, as in me, as in my brother Pete, as in our team. And before you make any decisions, make sure you've consulted whoever your investment advisor or authority is. With that, let's dive in. All right, that's where we were mid-session today, folks. Obviously, a little bit better than that, maybe even a lot better than that right now. The House did indeed pass the bill and goes to the president. And instead of us down 3.7% for the Dow or 850 points, we are down considerably less. The S&P 500, instead of being down 3.45% or 90 points, is now down just 1%. So it's looking like much better than any of us really could have hoped for, given how ugly the weeks had been leading up to this. Keep in mind that we're going to have a great interview with Larry McDonald. He will be joining at 4 p.m. Eastern Time today. He is the author of Bear Traps Reports and just a good guy, really knows risk trading. And we'll be talking about that with Larry at that time. All right, let's dive in, shall we? Now, this one, as you know, we've talked about IWM a lot. This is the small cap index. This is just from a couple days ago, from the 24th. That's 3 days ago, folks, when it was 105.49. Those May 115 calls were bought in a print. We'd already talked about how we've been disciplined about taking profits, taking profits, taking profits. All right, enough of that. Now let's talk about what we saw today, just over an hour ago. 10,000 of the options that expire at the end of March. So this is the end of the quarter. They're buying the March 120 calls. So not the 115s out in May. Those are the ones we've been taking profits on. I'm virtually out of those. I think I might have a stray 20 lot on right now. But this is fresh meat. This is buying that expires next Tuesday. So as you guys know, we like talking about time frame, next Tuesday. That's embedded in every option trade, is the time frame that the person that established that trade was all about. Second thing is the strike price. With the IWM at about 114, they were buying the 120s. They paid $1.48. You guys know the drill. $1.48 is $148 because every option is for 100 shares of stock. So $148 times 10,000 contracts means somebody just dropped $1.5 million on that trade. Those are the kind of people I want to follow. Now also look what they did, folks. They came in here and sold the same expiration, next Tuesday, March 125 calls, sold them for 43 cents. So if you net those two down, because this was a 1-for-1 spread, 10,000 of one that they purchased at 120, 10,000 of another that they sold at 125. So net out of pocket, they're out $1.05. I think you guys can all see why that is. Now, the $1.05 means that they cut, instead of being $148 per option, they're instead $105 per spread. And the spread is between 120 and 125. Hits a maximum of $5 at 125. I'm not saying they think it's going to 125, but this was a way for them to play an end of the quarter March to the upside for a relatively cheap price. So how much would that be? Well, 10,000 times basically a buck is about $1 million. So they saved $500,000 by doing this spread rather than just buying those calls naked. So that again tells me whoever's doing this is pretty darn smart. Here's the graph. That's just a 5-day graph of where the Russell 2000 has been. As you see on the dip today, they bought it. Let's see where it closes out for the week. Next one, second trade. Let's take a look at this one. Apple, AAPL. You know it's one of my favorite stocks. This one they put on a pretty big trade. They bought the Apple April 290 calls. So this is regular April, folks. These are 20 days from today. How do I know? Because next week is the first expiration. It is the first Friday in April, the 3rd of April. Then the 10th would be the 2nd. Obviously, the 17th would be the 3rd. That happens to be 20 days into the future. Again, all kinds of information embedded in option trades. They started buying them at $2.07. They bought them up to $2.45. So this tells us, folks, that how aggressive the guys were, or gal. They were buying these with this particular Apple at 248.86. They bought them 15,000 times. So let me just pick somewhere in between and say they paid $220, which would be $220 times 15,000 contracts. Gives you an idea. This is a $3.3 million trade. $3.3 million. Again, something worth following as far as how I view the world. I like to follow people that are putting down big money on a trade. I'm not putting down 3.3 million on the trade, but I like it. I'm following it. I'm in this trade. You know I was already long Apple anyway. Let's take a look at where Apple is now. Oh, look at that. Apple moving up to about 253. Let me get, in fact, I'm going to take a look on the other computer and see where Apple is at this moment. Let's see here. AAPL. 254. Bang! So now it's only down 1.7% on the day. Again, another pretty good trade tipped off because somebody was willing to basically jump in here, buy a lot of calls. We see it because of our heat seeker. We're able to track that activity and then see exactly, okay, how do we want to trade it? I am already long, I think, 150 spreads in Apple, which represents 15,000 shares. I'm not in 15,000 contracts. I'm in 150 spreads, and on this one I added 50 more. So that's full disclosure to you guys as far as what I have in Apple right now, which I've said repeatedly on Halftime and elsewhere is one of my biggest positions. And I'm very happy about that. I like Apple. I think it's a great company. Low on the day today. Whoops, let's see. AAPL. Sorry. Got these machines fighting against me over here. Low on the day was 248.38. So when these guys were buying it, as you saw from my prior slide, they were buying it at 248.86. Just basically 50 cents off the bottom. And now it's pushing up to 255 because 254.76 right now. Bang! This is what it looks like, folks, when I'm trading and seeing my basically the full constellation of all the expirations that I'd have access to. If you look at the first arrow on the left side of the page, that's showing you the volume. I've tried to highlight it with that blue bar. 17,345 contracts were how many they traded, okay? 17,000 contracts, 1.7 million share equivalent. Then look over here, the arrow pointing down on the right side of the screen is basically showing you the price that those options were at just a few minutes ago. So just a few minutes ago, those options were at 263. since the stock has moved up now to almost 255 from 253, I got to believe these options are probably more like $2.80 or thereabouts right now. So those are the first two trades of our 3 at 3. Let's take a look at another, WSC. So WSC, today we see at not even a full hour ago, somebody was in here with this stock trading at $10.43. They were buying July 1250 calls. So again, what's the embedded information they're letting us know? July time frame. So instead of being April, May, June, July, 4 months into the future, more than a quarter into the future. Will Scott Corporation, it was down 6% or more when this trade triggered, I think. This company basically, it's modular space, portable solutions, that kind of stuff, readyplex complexes, storage units, you know, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, WSC, we know 4 months into the future, somebody wants a lot of time for them to be right. They bought the 1250 call strike. They paid 98 cents 3,500 times. We joined them on this one as well. And now, as of this moment, where are we? 1091. So here you go. There it was, 1061, just 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago when I put these slides together. Now it's 1091. It's down just under 5% after trading back down and moving towards 10 earlier today. 1014 was the low of the day, but looks like it wants to keep trading up. And again, they're buying the July 1250 calls. All right, so with all that said, folks, make sure you check this out. I'm going one-on-one with Larry McDonald. Larry is a good friend. You've seen him on Fox. You've seen him on CNBC. You've seen him on Bloomberg. This guy has written several very interesting books on the crash, the financial crisis, as well as, of course, he writes Bear Traps. So The Bear Trap is his newsletter. We'll let him describe exactly what he's seeing right now and how he's traded crises in the past. We'll get into that with Larry McDonald in just under, about 40 minutes from right now. With that said, hey, it's been a great week. I hope you guys have enjoyed the live streams, and I encourage you to tune in for that one-on-one with Larry McDonald live in about 40 minutes from right now. Thank you very much. Have a